Welcome to this special episode of Framlingham College In Conversation, celebrating 100 years of rugby at Framlingham College. I'm Edith, and today we're reflecting on the school's rich rugby tradition, speaking to two current first-team players, Dan and Felix.
Hello.
And exploring the future of rugby at the college with our new coach, Mr. Cotterill. We'll discuss the significance of this milestone, what rugby means to the school community, and how it's evolved over the years. Let's start by reflecting on the history of Framlingham College. For the first match in 1924 to now, the sport has always played a vital role in the school life. Dan, what does it feel like to be part of a team that represents a century of rugby at Framlingham College? Does the 100-year milestone add any extra meaning or the motivation for you going into the season at the centenary match?
Yeah, I think being part of any rugby team or any sports team at Framlingham College is a really special thing. But the opportunity to represent the first team in the centenary season is something that none of us players take for granted, and we're going to use that as motivation to play to our best ability.
How long have you been playing rugby, and what have been the highlights of your rugby journey at Framlingham so far? Are there any moments or players that stand out for you from past generations or from your own experiences of playing at Framlingham?
So I've been playing since the age of 5 or 6 at Wyndham Rugby Club. I've moved up the age groups all the way to the Colts, and then playing for school rugby teams as well. During my time at Framlingham College, I've always looked up to the first team. Ever since year 9, it's been an inspiration to play for that side. And as we've been able to do that in the centenary season, beating Gresham's as a tough fixture to start off the season was a very, very big and proud moment for me. And I hope that we can perform as well as we did for the rest of the season.
How are you feeling about the forthcoming centenary match on Sunday against Ipswich Rugby Club? And what's the mood in the first team camp leading up to the match? Are there any nerves, excitement or sense of responsibility?
Yeah, so there's been a long build up to it. It's been in our heads for at least the last year, and then it's all we've been training for the last few months. So there's definitely nerves about it because it's been the focus of the season. But in the camp, the boys are really excited. It's a chance to show off what we can do to a large crowd of students, teachers and OFs, all supporting us. There's definitely a feeling of responsibility to do well for the boys in the team, the coaches and for the school on such a milestone. But overall we're just feeling very lucky and recognising how large of a privilege it is to be in the position to be playing in such a historic event. So yeah, it's a good chance to get redemption for the loss 100 years ago.
Looking back, do you think the legacy of Framlingham Rugby has influenced the way you have approached this game this season?
For me, the legacy of Fram Rugby would be the students and the OFs, and thankfully they show themselves frequently. We'll see OFs at matches coming to support us, and I think that really shows how much the game means to the people who've been at Fram. They'll come out of their way, spend their time, give up their afternoon to watch and support the boys who are so much younger than them. And then, we've got another representation of the legacy, Mr. Greenhall. He was an OF and first team captain. Still plays at a high level, but he's still with the boys at Fram working to develop and help us grow as players. So I think that's really an incentive and a motivation to play well in the match.
Mr. Cotterill, as the new head coach, how aware were you of Framlingham College's rugby tradition before joining? What drew you to be part of the college's future rugby? And how do you feel about celebrating this historic milestone?
I was very aware of Framlingham College's rugby history because I was at Gresham's from year 7 to year 11. So I played quite a few fixtures against the college. I've got quite a few friends that went to the college. And then the last 5 years, obviously, I've been at Felsted School coaching, and we play Framlingham every year as well. So I knew a little bit about the college's rugby programme. And what drew me to it? I think that recently I've been at Felsted and observed the fixtures between Felsted and the college, and I knew there was some movement in the college coaching staff. I see it as a great opportunity to come into the college and help improve the rugby delivery here. And I think it's fantastic that my first year is the centenary year, because it's like a really good foundation to build on. So I'm excited about improving the programme as best as I can.
Dan, can you describe what it's like to play for the first team? What does a typical week of training and preparation look like for you?
Yeah, so playing in the first team is a massive privilege to represent the school at the highest possible level in a rugby team, especially with all the crowds that come down on every Saturday. And on Sunday, we're really looking forward to having a big crowd of people that just want to spectate and appreciate what 100 years of rugby means at Fram. So we're looking forward to that. And the week leading up to this has been it's been very heavy. Every day we've been training 1-to-1s or running training S&C. So we've been making sure that we're in the best possible state to play this game.
Felix, how does rugby fit into school life? Do you feel it helps with things like discipline, teamwork, or even academics?
Yeah, I mean, with rugby, it's definitely helps with the teamwork, because you're working with a group of boys in a very physically and mentally demanding environment. So I guess that helps working with as a team in a demanding environment. And also, what's so good about rugby is that it allows you to work with others and allow them to do what they do best, and help them do what they do best while you do what you do best. Also, there's a big part of discipline in it, as you have to do all the gym sessions and the cardio sessions, training sessions, one-on-ones, even when you might want to be with your mates instead. So I'd say it builds up a lot of skills which are transferable to things like academics if you apply the same mindset to it.
How do you and your teammates balance the pressure of schoolwork with the demands of playing at such a high level?
So I'd say it just boils down to you make time to do what you love. So, you'll make time to get in the extra training session, you'll make time to do another gym session, and having things like programmed one-to-one sessions during the academic day, that's really helpful in helping balancing training and having time to do workload. But you definitely do have to make sacrifices to keep playing at your best and staying on top of academics. So instead of going into town or going out for a Zorbas, you might have to do a gym session, might have to do a cardio session, or make up for another training session which you might have missed previously.
Mr. Cotterill, you've recently joined Framlingham College as Head of Rugby. What are your first impressions of the culture of rugby here?
First impressions are good, and I look at that mostly from a people point of view. When I go into a new environment, I'm looking at the people first. My coaching philosophy is distilled into 3 words, which is people, performance and success, and it starts with the people. And the college has nice people involved as pupils in the rugby programme, as coaches in the rugby programme, the academic staff that support the rugby programme. So that's a great place to start. So the people, I believe, build the culture. There's room for us to grow the culture and fine-tune it and make it into a culture that we as a group feel is what we want to achieve. The magic ingredient, like I said, is the people. So it's a great place to start.
What are some of the key principles or values you bring as part of your coaching ethos and style?
I think my approach to safety and contact conditioning is something that I believe has added value to all the programs that I've worked in. And so I would see that, and that is my first priority. It was, rugby development plan number 1 point was rugby safe, and I do that through my control contact conditioning that I bring into all the training sessions, so that the players feel more contact confident. And I think that's really important to highlight that point. Yes, the technical side of it's great, and they know how to tackle, and they know how to ruck, and they know how to pack scrums, but it's the confidence to do it, and particularly in a game where you're not wearing a tackle suit, or you're not tackling a shield, you're actually tackling someone running at you as hard as they can. So that confidence will give the players a lot more enjoyment in their rugby. So I think that's key. And then I think the camaraderie is really important, and we need to make sure that everybody understands that rugby is a team sport. So we need to work on camaraderie all the time, so that there's a healthy competition between the under 16As and the under 16Bs, and players want to try and move between the two teams, and that competition helps everybody play better and try to be a better rugby player. And ultimately, that's what we're trying to do. We are just trying our best to be our best, and that's a very important point that I always reiterate with everybody, the staff and the players, is that ultimately that's all we can do. So I'll sign off on that one, because I think that is the most important thing.
Looking forward, what is your vision for rugby at Framlingham College over the next few years? What are your goals for the team and the rugby programme as a whole?
For me, I think Framlingham College is a great school based in the east of England. It's not all about rugby. The rugby program for me is my main focus point, but for the pupils and the parents and the other staff, rugby is part of a holistic education. So I think we need to be as good a rugby school as possible, but without going to the extremes that I've witnessed in the 5 years of being back in the country that other schools have gone to. We want to be a good school that plays competitive rugby through all our age groups within our region. I don't think it's necessary we travel out of our region for our regular fixtures. But on the flip side to that, I would love to see us achieve some National Cup success. We're in the Vars at under 15 and under 18 level, and I've had some wonderful experiences in that competition, and that does take you national, and that can mean you end up playing at Twickenham. So I think from a national point of view, that's something I'd love to see it be more successful in that competition, and then be a good solid block fixture for your Greshams and your Felsteads and your Lees and your Perth, and know that we can go toe-to-toe with those schools.
How do you plan to develop young talent at the college and keep rugby relevant and exciting for future generations?
Well, I think the college is doing some great stuff already around player development within the game sessions, the after-school sessions, and then the opportunity we're doing some lunchtime skill sessions for year 9, 10, 11. And we've also got some small group and one-on-one sessions for year 12 and year 13. And to be honest, that's way ahead of what some of the other schools in the region are doing. So it's a great thing to be able to add to the already successful games program. And I think that will help us develop players. And I've got plans for that to improve that. And right from our sort of, high-performing student athletes that are on a pathway with Northampton Saints or someone like that, right down to younger players that are multi-sport, as they should be, I think, in the younger years, but showing signs of enthusiasm and ability to get better. So yeah, we've got plans to improve that.
And back to you, Dan and Felix. Dan, looking ahead, how do you think the team will continue to evolve under Mr. Cotterill's leadership?
So I've known Mr. Cotterill for possibly 4 or 5 weeks now, since we met him at pre-season, and it's obvious to see the knowledge and passion he has for the game. And I think the future's very bright with him as head coach, as well as him being able to pass all his knowledge and all his skills of rugby to not only the players, but the other teachers that are going to follow him and the teachers that support him in his coaching sessions. So I think the future for Fram is very bright, yeah.
Felix, what are your hopes for the future of rugby at Framlingham, especially as you pass the torch to the younger players?
Yeah, so especially this year, there's been a real buzz about rugby throughout the school, and having a strong first team this year, I hope will help inspire the younger players. We've definitely got some real talent in the lower years, and especially with the high level coaching we have with Mr. Cotterill, Mr. Greenhall. I hope that will really help the younger players develop and help them grow and develop across the years. In terms of passing the torch to the younger players, I've a lot of faith in the year below. There are some really hard-working, passionate and committed boys there, and I have no doubt that they'll do a brilliant job next year, and hopefully they'll inspire some more people to pick up the ball and have a go at rugby.
Mr. Cotterill, if you could say one thing about the Framlingham College rugby community, past, present and future, what would it be?
I would say that they should be proud of what the school has achieved over 100 years and the commitment the school has made to the sport of rugby and the commitment the pupils have made to the sport of rugby, and that I would like to see that tradition go on for another 100 years. because I think it would be a shame to not acknowledge that history and that commitment. So the word I would use, be proud, and let's keep on being proud as we move forward.
Thank you to Dan, Felix and Mr Cotterill for joining us today to celebrate 100 years of rugby at Framlingham College. It is clear that rugby here is more than just a sport. It's about tradition, teamwork and community. We look forward to seeing how the team performs and look forward to the next generation of players carrying this legacy forward. Thank you for listening and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.